Hello everyone, I am Polymath and today I'm showing you how to play Magic the Gathering. Thank you for watching. This is episode 2 of season 1 of the series and today I'm talking about specific types of cards. Please subscribe if you like the video. Magic the Gathering has several different types of cards. There are Phenomenon, Lands, Conspiracies, and so many more. There are 7 modern types of cards now and 6 casual types of cards. Those are the ones I'll be discussing today. An example of a type of card that's not modern or casual is a type of card called interrupts. These cards used to be like an instant, but they're older and now they're obsolete and they basically act as instants. Before I start talking about the types of cards, I'm going to split them into 3 fundamental groups. We have permanents, cards that will go on the battlefield. We have non-permanents, which will go in the graveyard. Finally, we have casual types, which act differently and usually they hang out in the command zone. Those cards will only show up in certain formats, so unless you play them, they're obsolete and they are banned in every other format. Now I'm going to start with permanents. First, we have creatures. These are creatures that will serve in your army and attack the other player's life. When you cast them, they have something called summoning sickness, meaning they can't attack or tap immediately unless they have haste. Once the turn ends, then they can tap or attack, but you have to wait until your turn usually to do that. Creatures are a fundamental part of the game. The two numbers at the bottom mean power on the left and toughness on the right. If a creature takes damage from another creature's power that's equal to or higher than the toughness, it will die and get put into the graveyard. There are very many keyword abilities that can affect creatures like flying. In a card called Scale Destruction, creatures are classified by size. According to the card, small creatures are defined as creatures that have toughness 4 or less, medium creatures have toughness 5 to 8, and large creatures have toughness over 9. Creatures are permanents, so they will go on the battlefield when they're cast. Creatures attack and block, and unless they have trample, once a creature is blocked, it is stopped until the next turn. Next, we have lands. Lands are a source of the mana that control the game. There's 5 basic types of lands, and then there's other lands. They are unique cards since they can only be played once a turn and they are almost indestructible. You tap these for mana, and a lot of lands have special rules now, like the Guild Gates of Ravnica. They go in permanence, and they're usually the first value play, almost all the time. After that, we have artifacts. These are usually colorless, and there is a deck formed around the artifact theme ever since the Meriden block, when artifacts became powerful. And since most artifacts are colorless, that's one of 2 popular colorless deck archetypes. Artifacts are permanents, meaning you play them and they go on the battlefield. The equipment subtype allows a creature to equip an artifact, like a sword, for a certain amount of mana, and then they get an effect from equipping the artifact. Another type of card is an enchantment. These are pretty similar to artifacts, the differences being that enchantments are usually color based, and the ways they are destroyed. Enchantments can also be attached to creatures, except this one's called Aura. The difference is Aura usually doesn't cost as much. Again, it's a permanent type of spell. Now we have Planeswalkers, probably the most confusing out of the modern cards. This one's the one that most people want explaining, and this is going to take a while. Planeswalkers are usually the most powerful permanents, other than lands, since they have a lot of different effects and they're very versatile. Planeswalker you're looking at is Jace the Mind Sculptor, one of the 2 most powerful Planeswalkers. He's banned in Modern and Standard, which shows you how powerful he is. The number at the bottom right is his loyalty points. Those are kind of like his toughness. If his loyalty hits 0, he dies. He also has a bunch of abilities. Usually Planeswalkers only have 3 or 2, but this guy has 4. First, the top one. That will add 2 loyalty to his loyalty counter, as well as you get to look at the top card of your library. That's pretty powerful since you can use it on yourself, or you could use it on your opponent. His next ability will give him 0 loyalty, but it won't take any away, and it's also pretty strong. His third ability removes 1 loyalty, and his last ability, which is really insane, removes 12. He starts with 3 loyalty. As a general rule, the more loyalty the ability removes, the more powerful the ability is. But the final ability or the ultimate costs a lot, so usually it's the lower costing ones that matter a lot. Now cards are gonna start changing a bit. There's 2 types of cards that are different from the permanents that I listed above, And these are cards that once you play them, they go into the graveyard instead of the battlefield. They're called instants and sorceries, and I'm starting with the instants. Instants are spells that don't go on the battlefield or non-permanents. You pay the mana, the effect happens, and the card is put into the graveyard. Note, they can be played at any time, even on other people's turns. This makes instants pretty powerful. For example, uh, another person could be attacking you, and then one of their creatures is down to 1 life, and then you could do 3 damage to that to finish it off. Some creature spells are called counter spells that can counter other spells when they're being cast. All you need is the mana, and you can counter any spell except for spells that say they can't be countered. Sorceries. They're instants, except they have to be played on your turn. Also, they're a bit more powerful usually, and it's really just that simple. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you again to please subscribe to the channel. I work really hard on these videos, and it means a lot if I start to see channel growth as a result. Thank you. And now we move on to the casual type of cards. There's nothing wrong with these cards, they just are played in formats that are different. And I guess I can start with tribals. Tribals are cards that affect only a certain type of creature. These are really complicated and confusing, and since there's tribals and then there's tribal enchantments, and they're not printed anymore since the people that work at Magic realize that they're really confusing. Next, we have planes. These are only played in the plane chase variant, which I'll be explaining here. In the plane chase variant, you have some cards called planes with a few abilities, and you roll a die for mana. You pay a mana to roll the die, and if you get a specific roll, you change the plane. There's only one plane that you can be on at a time, and the game starts by having one player put a plane down. If you get a certain different roll, it triggers the ability called Chaos of the plane. Phenomena are also only played in the plane chase variant. These cards act as things that might happen to you as you're planeswalking. The player controlling the planes is also who's on the plane is also controlling the current phenomenon. Plane chase is a very complicated format, and in my opinion, is pretty fun. You could try it out if you wanted. Vanguards. These are only played in the Vanguard variant, and they are pretty overpowered. In the Vanguard variant, you choose one Vanguard at the start of the game, and that Vanguard has effects, including changing your hand size and your life totals, and they have some special abilities too. Schemes are cards that are only played in the Arch Enemy variant. Schemes are chosen at the start of the game and can be abandoned or taken up again during the game. They represent like long-term goals and scheming, I guess, that planeswalkers use. Finally, we have conspiracies. Conspiracies are only played in the conspiracy draft variant. Conspiracies start and cannot be destroyed, and they affect the game. They have no mana cost and cannot be cast after the start of the game. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, be sure to check out the rest of my videos. Please subscribe, and have a nice day.